Man, the most wild part is how practical he makes fear management.
Yeah, he doesn't romanticize it. He's like, small pain, move anyway.
That standing there is waiting to starve to death line is brutal.
Exactly. It turns anxiety into just inertia with a costume on.
And I love that he's like, detach from emotions, but don't delete them.
Right. Emotions are part of the calculus, not the whole equation.
That's the part I disagree with people on. Some treat feelings like the boss.
Totally, like if you're sad, you're suddenly incapable of decisions.
But he's saying, let it inform you, then you steer.
Also, his extreme ownership thing lands because it hurts your ego first.
Yeah, it's my fault is not motivational until you realize you can fix it.
The subtle trick is, ownership is pain, but it creates control.
Wait, but isn't there a version of ownership that turns into self-blame forever?
Good pushback. He implies it's followed by action, not rumination.
He literally keeps swinging back to step, movement, iterative decisions.
That Woods example is basically decision therapy in combat boots.
Start walking even if you might be going the wrong way. Iterate.
Because certainty is a trap. By the time you're certain, life moved.
So his framework is small step, update information, adjust direction.
And I think that's why people fail when they wait for the right mood.
He's also calling out excuses like they're fake friends.
Yeah, excuses feel comforting, but they're basically stealing your future.
The craziest claim is most people quit because it sucked, not because it was impossible.
He says medical issues are smaller, and quitting is the big one.
And even when you think you quit for a reason, it's often still quitting.
That my leg hurt rationalization, being disguised surrender, is too real.
Okay, but here's a more personal question. How do you detach from emotions without becoming cold?
I think he's distinguishing between being flooded and being aware.
So you don't pretend grief isn't there, you just stop it from driving.
He literally talks about waves of emotion rolling back over time.
That it comes back later in smaller storms framing is oddly comforting.
Yeah, and it normalizes choking up, like it's not a failure state.
He says suppression doesn't make it disappear, it leaks out somewhere else.
Which is why just bottle alert advice is kinda dangerous.
But I still wonder, does discipline sometimes become numbness for leaders?
Maybe some people misuse it, but his model sounds like discipline with awareness.
Also, that confidence section, he builds confidence by giving tasks you can handle.
He doesn't hand out believe in yourself posters. He does exposure therapy.
Exposure therapy, but for your ego and your competence gaps.
Exactly. Do a small win, earn competence, then level up the challenge.
I like that he prevents overconfidence too. He humbles the guy who's too sure.
Yeah, give them more responsibility and watch if they can hold control.
This connects to imposter syndrome. He says it can actually be humility.
He even frames it like, if you're slightly insecure, you ask questions.
That's such a different take than the eradicate imposter syndrome crowd.
And in his world, leaders want open-mindedness, not pretending you know everything.
He says good leaders don't impose the plan, they make subordinates own it.
Because if you're in the plan, you can't see the holes as well.
And you can't look up and out if you're down and in.
That metaphor is straight-up management gold, honestly.
Wait, okay, this is where I push back slightly.
Shoot.
In business, letting everyone craft the plan can slow you down.
Sure, but he's not saying abdicate. He's saying train ownership progressively.
So you let them propose, you adjust with questions, then you delegate with guardrails.
Exactly. He even talks about running with 95% plans, but challenging low-quality ones.
So the we need consensus people miss the point. There's accountability.
And there's also speed through iteration, not through guessing perfectly.
That make the smallest decision possible idea is basically anti-paralysis.
And it attacks the demand for 100% certainty like it's poison.
Like leaving a job doesn't require clarity of destiny, it requires movement steps.
Yes, resume, LinkedIn, relationships, then the next job appears as reality updates.
So the fear isn't removed, you just outrun it with action.
And the discipline is how you decide under pressure, not how you avoid pressure.
All right, I'm convinced this isn't be fearless, it's act while afraid.
And if you act wrong, you course correct. No catastrophic pride involved.
Okay, final thought. Would you call this a life philosophy or a training program?
Training program, because it's steps, reps, and feedback loops.
Fair. All right, we're gonna take a breath before we ruin our brains with more discipline talk.
Agreed. Next episode, let's go deeper into what leaders do when emotions hit and performance still has to happen.
Act while afraid sounds good, but my brain keeps begging for certainty.
Certainty is a trap, because by the time you get it, the situation mutates.
So you're saying overthinking is basically fear-wearing glasses?
Yeah, and it charges you rent for every minute you delay.
Where do you draw the line between smart planning and paralysis?
If your planning produces no forward motion, it's just anxiety in a suit.
That suit's probably made of doom-scrolling fabric, too.
Exactly. You research your way into not doing anything.
But sometimes I do need more information before I decide.
Sure, but you don't need 100%. You need enough to take a small step.
The iterative decision thing, like move at 70%, then update.
Update is such a polite word for admitting you might be wrong.
Admitting you're wrong is basically the whole game, huh?
Extreme ownership is admitting this is on me, not the universe hates me.
But ownership feels harsh when you're dealing with stuff outside your control.
Ownership doesn't deny reality. It claims responsibility for what you can affect next.
Okay, so what's the next when your marriage or job is collapsing?
You don't leap to forever solutions. You do the smallest actionable reps. Resume, calls, relationships.
Resume reps is the least heroic sentence I've ever heard, and I love it.
Right? It's unsexy, but it changes your options immediately.
I notice when I'm scared, I try to solve everything at once.
Because your brain wants a single big lever that guarantees safety.
The one chart to rule them all fantasy.
Exactly, and life is like, cool story, take the next step.
Let's talk emotions, because detach sounds like emotional robot mode.
It's not robot mode. It's stop letting emotions be the whole decision maker.
So emotions are in the calculus, but not the denominator?
I love that math analogy because it makes denial look silly.
Denial is just ignore the variable and pretend the equation works.
In high-pressure environments, yelling is often a sign you missed earlier mistakes.
That part hit me. If I have to yell, I already failed.
Or you didn't manage expectations, structure, and clarity beforehand.
But leadership in this real world isn't Hell Week, right? People can't just shrug and go.
True, but the principle transfers. Small actions under stress beat big emotions under stress.
That's why the surf torture story feels relevant. Cold, discomfort, and repetition.
The ocean is basically your discomfort teacher.
And they keep checking for hypothermia, like the system forcing honesty.
Yeah, unlike us, where we check in by refreshing Instagram.
Any signs of hypothermia? No, bro, I just feel vibes.
Grit isn't just muscles. It's internal drive plus knowing your weak spots.
That line about strengths not mattering if your weakness is exposed. Runner who can't swim.
It's also kind of comforting, because it means failure isn't moral. It's data.
Failure isn't shame, it's diagnostics, should be printed on gym walls.
Exactly, and that brings us to confidence. Confidence is built, not found.
I liked the mechanism. Give someone tasks they can handle, repeat, then increase difficulty.
Exposure therapy, but with better HR policies.
I'm actually scared of public speaking, so this feels painfully accurate.
Start small, win small, then expand the stage. Don't jump straight to 1,000-person fantasy.
So imposter syndrome is just humility that wants process.
I think it can be healthy if it makes you ask questions and stay coachable.
But sometimes it's crippling, like your brain is convinced you're fraud enough to fail automatically.
And then you treat discomfort like prophecy.
What do you do in the room then, when you feel that panic?
Say it out loud. It's my first time. I'll have questions. Please correct me so we win.
That's terrifyingly effective because it converts anxiety into teamwork.
And it also stops the false performance pressure of pretending you know everything.
In SEAL teams, leaders didn't just impose plans either, right? Subordinates create them.
Yes, because ownership, better planning, and the leader can see up and out, not only down and in.
The map stare syndrome, leaders stuck in the plan instead of the battlefield.
Exactly. Leadership is perspective management, not just command management.
And that's why detach from emotions and ego matters, but people misunderstand it.
They think detaching means suppressing, but it's more like separating feeling from action.
So what about grief then? You can't separate that cleanly.
No, grief is waves. You regain control, then another wave hits later.
That storm cycle framing is way more realistic than get over it.
Get over it is what people say when they don't want to feel helpless.
So the goal becomes, don't let the wave steer the whole ship forever.
Right. Emotions can be present, but decisions must include logic, future, goals, and responsibilities.
I like that the advice isn't be cold, it's be functional.
Functional grief, that's the term, apparently.
Okay, last push before we run out of time. Excuses destroy you, but do they ever help?
They help you avoid discomfort for a moment, then they steal your future slowly.
So they feel like friends, but they're just feeding you drinks at the bar.
Yeah, they're not helping you sober up, they're helping you continue the problem.
And extreme ownership is the anti-drink. This is on me, now what's my next move?
Exactly, it hurts because ego wants innocence, but it empowers because it restores agency.
All right, I'm ready to stop negotiating with fear.
Perfect. Next episode, we go deeper into what leaders do when emotions hit, and performance still has to happen.
Like no applause breaks, just carry on with the mission.
Yep, carry on. With ownership, not denial.
All right, that's it for episode 1. Go take 1 rep today, even if it's tiny.
And remember, fear doesn't get banished. It gets outrun by action.
Episode 2 teaser. We'll dissect the exact moment emotions take the wheel, what leaders do to reclaim it. Fear is loud, but discipline is like, shut up, move anyway.
And the wild part is it's not motivation, it's decisions under pressure.
I love how he basically says excuses are just self-sabotage in a cute outfit.
Cute outfit, it's more like a weapon you pretend is a blanket.
Okay, but where do we actually start when fear and anxiety show up?
Small steps, painful ones, so your brain stops negotiating and starts marching.
Right, like going to the gym when you're out of shape and your body hates you.
It's hilarious how your mind goes, I should quit after like 1 bad minute.
And he's like, envision where it leads. Because you're not quitting the pain, you're quitting the stagnation.
Stagnation is the real villain. Pain is just the tax bill.
Then he says, if you're in the woods, start walking, even wrong direction.
That wrong direction line is savage because it gives overthinkers permission to act.
Permission to be imperfect. That's like therapy for performance people.
And it's also the truth. Standing still is how anxiety turns into starvation.
Fear hates forward motion. It feeds on, I need certainty first.
Exactly. In combat, you never get 100% certainty, so you make the smallest decision possible.
He called it iterative decision-making, right? Like leave the job in steps, not one dramatic goodbye.
The don't quit your marriage tomorrow strategy, iteration, is romance with reality.
But that's where people get stuck. They wait to feel ready, as if readiness is a prerequisite.
Readiness is a myth distributed by anxious marketers.
Okay, but the next layer is the emotional detach thing, which is tricky for normal humans.
Yeah, because detach from emotions can sound like suppressing them, which he clearly isn't advocating.
What's the difference, then, between detaching and being emotionally numb?
Detach means emotions are present, but they don't get to be the CEO of the decision.
Emotions as HR, not as the boss. They can speak, but they don't sign the contract.
I like that because he says leaders don't yell. If you need to yell, you messed up 47 other things first.
That's accountability plus calm, which is rare when you're actually stressed.
Also, real talk. Half the time people yell because they're panicking behind the scenes.
So extreme ownership becomes the antidote. This went wrong, not someone else did it.
But it hurts because ego doesn't want innocence. It wants comfort.
Ego's like, if it's my fault, I'm terrible, instead of, if it's my fault, I can fix it.
Exactly. Confidence is just agency with evidence.
He had that confidence build method too. Give people tasks they can handle, then scale.
It's exposure therapy, but for competence. Small wins, then slightly harder wins.
That's why public speaking terrified him, because he just went straight to the arena, not the warm-up mat.
Yet people think confidence is some personality trait, like you either have it or you don't.
Confidence is training, not genetics. You practice until your nervous system believes you.
And on imposter syndrome, he's like, it can be good because it makes you humble and ask questions.
Imposter syndrome as humility is almost a plot twist, I'll give him that.
The key move is when you feel it, you tell the room, this is my first time, please correct me.
That's so smart because it turns anxiety into collaboration, not silence.
In contrast, overconfidence is silence too, but it's arrogance pretending to be competence.
One makes you ask questions, the other makes you talk like you're filming a trailer.
And leadership in the SEAL context is interesting. He said subordinates make plans, not the boss.
That sounds counterintuitive, because most managers hoard the plan and give tasks like they're vending machines.
True, because people fear losing control, so they keep the map and drown in it.
Whereas he wants you to look up and out, away from the trenches, so you see the whole battlefield.
And that matches the whole theme. Detach, then execute with ownership.
But let's go to the hardest part, processing trauma and loss without letting it wreck the rest of life.
He said he didn't drag his family into the depths. He compartmentalized in a caring way, not in denial.
And he framed it as reality. Evil exists, but so does good, so focus keeps you sane.
I also liked the waves of emotion model. Storms come, then recede, and you regain control.
That's such a relieving idea because people panic when emotions break through their I should be fine shell.
Like, wait, I lost control? Something's wrong with me. No, your brain is processing.
Exactly. Normal grief feels abnormal only because we worship being composed.
He even said it's okay to get choked up because it proves love, not weakness.
But then he adds the boundary. Don't let emotion embrace you and drive your life.
Emotions in the calculus, not the whole equation. That line should be tattooed on LinkedIn.
Equation includes emotions would outperform every motivational poster instantly.
So if someone is drowning in anxiety, what's the actionable sequence you'd actually tell them?
Step 1. Take a small step now, not a perfect plan later. Walking in the woods.
Step 2. Own the responsibility so agency returns. No excuses that pretend to protect you.
Step 3. Feel the wave, breathe, then re-engage the next decision with your whole calculus.
And step 4, if you're leading someone, give them a doable task, not a humiliation test.
That's why this stuff works. It's not philosophy, it's operating procedures for humans under stress.
Fear isn't erased. It's managed through repeated action until it loses leverage.
All right, go take 1 rep today. Tiny is fine, just move.
And if your emotions spike, remember, waves pass. Decisions still need to happen.
That's the whole game. Discipline outruns fear, not denial.
We'll see you in episode 2, where we unpack the exact moment emotions take the wheel.
Until then, carry on with ownership, not panic.
Catch you soon, and remember, 1 step forward beats perfect certainty.
Teaser for episode 2. We're going to dissect how leaders reclaim control mid-storm.
I like that he basically treats fear like a training variable, not a personality trait.
Yeah, because if it's a variable, you can measure it, and then you can outwork it.
But the weird part is how he says small steps can hurt at first.
Small steps hurt? That sounds like motivational poster math.
He's talking about the first rep, not the 10th rep.
True, the first rep is basically paying a fear tax to start moving.
And he keeps hammering, your default mode should be ownership.
Which is brutal because it means excuses aren't self-care, they're self-sabotage.
Your excuse is like a pet that bites you, but you still feed it.
Okay, but how does ownership not become toxic self-blame for normal people?
Exactly, like, you can't own everything, right? The world isn't a video game tutorial.
I think the nuance is, you own what you can control inside the situation.
So it's less, I caused everything, and more, I'm responsible for my next decision.
That's why he says excuses destroy you, because they kill your agency.
The moment you rationalize not acting, you're training your brain to avoid discomfort.
And then you end up stuck in the same loop, like your life becomes a waiting room.
His woods analogy is basically start walking, even if direction is uncertain.
Yeah, because overthinking delays reality, and reality doesn't care about your spreadsheet.
Do you think that applies to relationships too, or only to the job sucks stuff?
Relationships are messier, but the mechanism is the same. Stop freezing.
Freeze is just fear wearing a hoodie.
Start doing the next smallest thing. Talk, plan, save money, get support.
Walk doesn't mean quit everything today. It means create information.
Exactly. Iterative decisions. Move at 70%, then adjust with feedback.
I used to crave certainty like it was oxygen.
Certainty is a myth anyway. Your brain just wants a permission slip.
That's why he detaches from emotions, not by suppressing them.
Detach sounds cold though, like, where's the empathy in that?
Detach just means emotions aren't the driver. They're part of the dashboard.
If emotions are the whole equation, you're basically doing math in the dark.
He even frames it as leaders controlling emotions so they can execute.
Which is funny because people think leadership is about dominance, not calibration.
Then there's confidence. He says build it by exposure to tasks you can handle.
I loved that approach. Give the person a non-softball task, but doable.
It's like training strength. Progressive overload, not magical belief.
Confidence by reps, not affirmations.
People love affirmations because failure is less embarrassing when it's just vibes.
But what if someone overconfident? He addressed that too, right?
Yeah, ego gets tested with chaos, and then you correct course fast.
That's the thing. Leadership isn't theory, it's outcomes.
He also reframed imposter syndrome as humility, not a defect.
I actually agree with that part. Some doubt is signal, not weakness.
But imposter syndrome can also spiral into inaction.
True, and his fix is to speak up. First time running this, I'll ask questions.
That turns anxiety into communication, which is powerful.
So in business, the real move is turning I'm not enough into let's win, I need input.
Exactly. And notice how he rejects the whole leaders always have answers stereotype.
He says subordinate leaders should create the plan because ownership is the point.
Also, because if you stare down at the map, you stop looking up at the battlefield.
That line is so cinematic for a concept that's basically situational awareness.
Then, he ties it back to detaching from chaos and emotions, like step-back leadership.
Do you think most managers fail because they're too close to the work?
Often, yeah, they become firefighters instead of commanders.
And when you're stuck firefighting, you can't see the pattern, so you keep repeating mistakes.
I keep coming back to the small step creates perspective idea.
Because action changes your information, and information calms the brain.
Which leads to his extreme ownership part. Rock bottom becomes empowering.
Rock bottom is terrifying, but it also means you can finally steer.
Until you hit rock bottom, you keep negotiating with the universe.
He also talks about learning willingness, like, do you actually want to do this?
That's the tough love. If you don't want it, obstacles become excuses automatically.
And if you do want it, you find a way, or you at least find the next rep.
I think that's why his story of going back into cold water matters. No drama, just forward.
Surf torture sounds like a nightmare product demo.
But the principle is shrug, go forward, repeat.
And that's how fear loses leverage, by being repeatedly confronted with action.
So the weird trick is basically discipline disguised as procedure.
All right, go take one rep today. Tiny is fine, just move.
And if your emotions spike, remember, waves pass. Decisions still need to happen.
That's the whole game. Discipline outruns fear, not denial.
We'll see you in episode 2, where we unpack the exact moment emotions take the wheel.
Until then, carry on with ownership, not panic.
Catch you soon. And remember, one step forward beats perfect certainty.
Teaser for episode 2. We're going to dissect how leaders reclaim control mid-storm. Okay, that whole small steps can be painful thing hit me hard.
Because it's not motivational. It's like realistic pain thresholds.
Yeah, gym example is brutal, especially when you're so out of shape.
The trick isn't bravery. It's suffering through the first rep anyway.
Exactly, and it's why discipline feels weirder than confidence.
Confidence is fragile. Discipline is repeatable, even when you feel fake.
Fake confidence is such a funny phrase, but it's also accurate.
So where do fear and anxiety fit? Like, are they enemies or weather?
Weather, bro, you don't negotiate with rain, you move anyway.
And the woods metaphor is basically start walking before you solve.
Right, because certainty usually arrives after the step, not before.
But people keep waiting for 100% certainty like it's a law.
Waiting for certainty is just overthinking with nicer clothes.
The iterative decision thing is so clean, though. Small step, revise.
Like leaving a job, you don't quit emotionally, you start assembling options.
Resume, LinkedIn, relationships, boring, but it kills the panic.
And it stops the "I'm miserable, therefore action now" trap.
Fear loves dramatic exits. Discipline loves gradual exits.
What I really liked is the rule. Standing there is waiting to starve.
That line is savage because it reframes anxiety as inactivity.
But does it ever fail? Like, what if you're truly stuck?
Then you walk and discover you are walking the wrong way. Still progress.
Progress doesn't always look like success. Sometimes it looks like correction.
Okay, now the big one. Detach from emotions. That can sound cold.
Detach doesn't mean numb. It means you stop letting emotion drive.
He basically said good leaders don't need yelling because they already fixed errors.
That ties into extreme ownership, too. No blaming when things get messy.
I love the concept, but in real life, blame feels comforting.
Comforting for 10 minutes, and then it rots your future.
My girlfriend did it, my parents did it, the weather did it. Classic villain arc.
The weather one is my favorite. Like clouds personally handled my budget.
But the painful part is ownership hurts the ego first.
Yeah, the ego wants an external cause because internal causes require change.
And change is work, not a story you tell yourself.
He compares it to rock bottom, too, where excuses go away.
Do you think rock bottom is necessary, though?
Necessary? No. Useful? Sometimes. People only hear reality when it shouts.
I agree, and the empowerment angle makes sense. If it's your fault, you can fix it.
That's the confidence mechanism. Control returns, even if it's messy control.
But confidence isn't just think positive, right? It's built by tasks you can handle.
That training story, give them a doable task, then increment it, is exposure therapy.
Exposure therapy for leadership. Love it. It's just practice with supervision.
The key is not overwhelming people. Too big a task resets confidence into panic.
Exactly. So confidence grows from I survived this, not I imagined I could.
Okay, the "your excuses will destroy you" line. How intense is that?
It's brutal, but it's also accurate. Excuses feel good, then nothing changes.
It's like emotional vending machines. Insert blame, get numbness.
And the product is basically regret, hard-coded.
But what I like is the pivot to extreme ownership, not shame.
Yeah, ownership is painful, but it returns agency, like turning the lights on.
Still, people hear everything is your fault and freak out.
They weaponize it against themselves like self-harm with better branding.
Extreme ownership is, this went wrong, what can I fix from here?
Exactly, less I'm doomed, more I can act. That's the mechanism.
And it links to fear, right? Fear says I can't. Ownership says I can try.
Fear loves paralysis. Ownership is the antidote that turns paralysis into steps.
Small steps can be painful is so real for gym life.
Day one hurts, and your brain tries to call it a sign from the universe.
I'm not doing it anymore is just anxiety doing overtime.
That's why the start walking metaphor hits. Do something, then adjust.
In the woods, you're not getting a map magically. Movement creates information.
But people want certainty first, like life is a math proof.
I need 95% certainty to leave the job is comedy at this point.
The iterative decision process is step, learn, step again, never wait for perfect clarity.
That's also how confidence grows, right? Not by thinking, but by surviving tasks.
Yep, confidence isn't vibes, it's evidence accumulation.
Like exposure therapy, but for leadership. First a small mission, then bigger chaos.
And the supervision matters. If you overwhelm someone, confidence collapses into panic.
I like that part because most managers just throw people into the deep end.
Deep end without lifeguard is how you get broken egos and silent quitting.
Or loud HR complaints. Same entropy, different packaging.
When he described giving tasks I know you can handle, that's basically scaffolding.
Scaffolding plus repetition. And suddenly someone believes they can lead because they did lead.
Confidence comes from competence under constraint, not from fantasies of competence.
Imposter syndrome gets roasted, but the way he reframes it is interesting.
Like imposter syndrome is your humility alarm, not your fraud certificate.
And he's saying, if you're a little unsure, you ask questions, then the team wins.
I like the practical move. Announce this is my first time. Invite correction.
That turns uncertainty into collaboration instead of secrecy.
But does it work for introverts? Like, saying that out loud is terrifying.
Fair, but you can say it in a smaller way. Tone down, not downplay.
The core idea stays. Humility plus transparency reduces error cost.
Okay, leadership angle. He says good leaders don't impose the plan.
They pull plans from subordinates to give ownership and wider battlefield awareness.
If I'm inside the plan, I can't see the holes is such a clean metaphor.
That also explains why anxiety spikes, being stuck in the problem, not the picture.
Step back, detach from ego and emotions. That's the leadership muscle.
Detach can sound cold, though. People worry you'll ignore feelings.
Not ignore, integrate. Emotions are one component, not the whole equation.
Emotions in the calculus is such a good phrase.
It's like, logic is the spreadsheet. Emotions are the assumptions you don't delete.
Right. And when grief hits, you still get waves, no matter how rational you think you are.
The grief part is honestly the most human segment in all of it.
Yeah, the waves roll back idea that normalizes emotional loss of control.
And he reframes choking up as evidence of love, not weakness.
Men get trained to suppress everything, then act surprised when emotions leak later.
Why am I snapping at spreadsheets? Because emotions were never processed, bro.
Suppression doesn't remove it. It just hides it, and it returns dressed as bad decisions.
But the other extreme, letting emotions drive, also becomes an excuse engine.
He's basically saying, feel it, but don't let it steer the whole car.
And then he loops back to don't dwell. Remember, don't live in the past.
That's discipline too, honoring the past while still moving the next step.
This is why the fear tactic works. Discipline is movement plus ownership.
Fear wants you to stall, but the fix is micro-action, supervision, and clear decisions.
So basically, stop negotiating with anxiety, start iterating with intention.
And if you're unsure, you ask, you step, you learn. No mystical certainty required.
That's the weird trick. Fear is real, but it doesn't get a veto.
Fear can sit in the passenger seat. You still drive.
All right, we're going to carry this into episode 2 because there's more of the practical playbook.